Hi, I'm Tara.
And I'm Misty.
And this is the Handmade Podcast.
Today we're going to talk about my visit to the Highlands Festival, Tara's shopping in San Francisco, and my yarn dyeing.
Yes. So you went to the Highlands Festival last weekend, the weekend before?
Yes, the weekend before. And I had a great time. I went with my friend Jen and her little girl Addie. She's 18 months, and she was adorable. We got to pet some alpacas, I think they were. And we got to hear them. They were like making the weirdest sounds. And I was like, are they crying? Are they sad? There was like 2 of them there, and they had them in a little pen. And so they weren't really too interested in us, but they were neat to see, you know. And so we got to see them, and there was a lot of yummy food at the Highlands Festival. Have you ever had Amish donuts?
Yes. Are they at the John City Farmers Market?
Yes,
in the truck?
yes.
And they're, oh my goodness,
They are
they're
amazing. So we had an Amish donut, and I got a pretzel to take for later, and I got half and half tea and lemonade, and I think it's the best that I've ever had. And I'm hooked on that stuff lately. So other than them, my favorite is Chick-fil-A. So. But yeah, theirs was hands down the best. And so we had some yummies, and we saw some beautiful vendors. Like one of my favorites was this photographer who did landscape photography that was just breathtaking. It was so amazing. I bought some handmade soap, and so did my friend Jen. There was 2 vendors there for soap. And I got one that smells really good, like almonds. And
you got some yarn, right?
I got some fiber. There was a little booth there.
We have a video of it.
We have a video. Here's the video of the little booth I found. It's just really short. This is my first time taking a little video like this. But yeah, here it is. I'm at Virginia Highlands Festival, and I found a little treat. They have some beautiful fibers and some indigo dyed linens and some little older things, and I got some fiber. Okay, so that was the video of the little booth I found. They had some like old-timey, you could tell the lady that was dressed up, she had like a costume type thing on, and they sold some other things, but there in that corner they had some fiber and a little bit of hand spun yarn and some hand-dyed things, and yeah, so I got some fiber from her. And it's really pretty. And Tara here says that it looks like, because I didn't get all the good information from the lady, but here you can kind of see it. Tara says it looks like some natural gray wool, and it's got some blended like a bluish teal and a little bit of pink,
like the tiniest
amount, just enough to shade it just a little bit, give it a little bit of color. So I think it's really pretty. It's soft, and I'm really excited to see how it spins up. I still feel like I've had my wheel for about a year, but I've not spun a lot on it, so I still feel like I'm a beginner spinner. And part of me wants to spin thick and thin art yarns, and part of me wants to spin really fine. So we'll see what I end up doing. I don't know, but yeah, Spinzilla. That's right. Spinzilla's coming up, so I need to get me some fiber and get some practice in so I can spin that week.
Yeah, and we'll do a whole episode about Spinzilla and what we get for that, because I'm excited about it too. And did you get anything else at the Highlands Festival?
Did. Well, after the Highlands Festival, we went to a yarn shop that's nearby, and this was in Abingdon, Virginia. It's called A Likely Yarn, and I had my mom quit knitting. She got married last year, and she quit knitting on me. And she passed me her punch cards for the shop. They have punch cards.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I had $20, and once you fill a card, you get $20.
Oh, wow.
And so I splurged and got my very first skein of Miss Babs.
That's so beautiful.
This is so beautiful. It's amazing. I love the colors. It's soft. It's sock weight. This is her, it's called Tarte hand-painted fingering weight yarn. It's 75% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and 10% tencel. It's 500 yards, and it's 4.3 ounces.
So yeah, that would be enough for a pair of socks.
Extra.
Yeah. I love it.
I don't know if I can make myself do socks with this. I don't know how I feel about whites in socks, because I'm like, will it mess them up, but I don't know. I thought the other day that I may put like a black with it and do maybe a shawl and do the black edging or something. I don't know. I like that. It would, but this is in the Across the Universe colorway, and this is a Babette. And if anybody has shopped with Miss Babs, you know that this is a one-off. This is not a regular colorway that she carries. So
so pretty. Oh, and we should say Miss Babs is a local fiber artist.
Yes.
She's in Mountain City,
Mountain City,
not too far from us.
No, maybe 45 minutes an hour or something like that from us. So
it's so pretty.
I hope to interview her one day. And the shop is having a trunk show for Miss Babs September 5th and 6th.
Yes,
so
at a Likely Yarn in Abingdon, Virginia.
Yes, if you're in the area, go see Miss Babs and meet her in person. I know that we're hopefully going to do that.
Yay! And we should talk about it in our Ravelry group. If you want to go to Handmade Podcast Ravelry group, we will post about it and say if we're going to go. Maybe get our first meetup.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah.
That'd be super fun. So, I went to San Francisco to teach the Creative Live workshop, 3 days of classes, but I stayed one extra day specifically so I could check out the yarn stores and the bakeries. And so I have a little, I planned out a little day, really just 2 or 3 hours. So it's all walkable. In the Mission District, you can hit 2 yarn stores, a bakery, Mexican place. So I'm going to walk you through my little, ideal 3 hours you have in San Francisco. And I tried to do most of this, but then, anyhow. So the first thing is Tartine Bakery, which is amazing. I've eaten there before. It's so, so good. But the line was out the door, and the little place is really small, and I hadn't had my first cup of coffee yet. So I was like, I have to get coffee, so I didn't stay in line. So I walked down to Ritual Coffee Roasters, which was delicious, and no line out the door, but really good coffee. And they even had little vegan donuts. Oh. I was like, a donut. So that's down Valencia Street. And when I came out of Ritual Coffee Roasters, you keep walking down Valencia Street, and I came across Serendipity, which it's serendipity because I had marked this store on my map when I was in San Francisco 2 or 3 years before, but I had, on Google Maps, you can star places. So it came up on my map as a starred place, but I had no idea why. I was like, it looks like a card shop, like a letterpress card place. So I walk in, and you keep walking in, and at the very back, there's a yarn store. And it's not a big yarn store. It's basically, she's, just has, the back wall. And it's called Princess Animal Yarn. And so I, just because I went to that coffee shop, I happened to walk by it, and so it was totally wonderful. Exactly. And she told me when I was in there about cephalopod yarns not, making any more yarns, and I had been following her on Instagram, but because I'd been out of town, I didn't really know. So that convinced me and the 2 other girls who were in there to buy cephalopod yarns right away. So I got this. It's so pretty. It's Skinny Bugga in, I didn't think I knew the colorway, Blue Ringed Octopus, or C20. It's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. It's so soft. It's so great. And it's 440 yards. It's 4 ounces. It's
very pretty. It's like a tonal. Yeah. So there's even though it's just a really soft color throughout, you can see areas that are a little bit lighter and a little bit darker, and it just makes it have a lot of good depth.
I just love it. I've been keeping it in a bowl just so I can admire it. It's so pretty.
It.
And so I didn't know what I was going to make with it, but I actually think I've decided. And I'm going to talk about it in a future week once I cast on. But Lethal, of Lethal Knits, her name's actually Lee. She's doing a mystery knit along, and you can make all these different shapes, and then one thing comes out at a time. And I was thinking this is the perfect yarn for that because I'm probably going to make a crescent shaped shawl. I hope that's not a spoiler for the mystery knit along.
That's so scary to me though, because I guess I'm such a picky knitter that I can't imagine just saying, yes, I'll just knit whatever you.
Well, the thing is, I've knit a couple of her other patterns, and they are all the construction is really interesting, but she, you pick what you want to end up with, so it's not just gonna be I'm not gonna accidentally knit a hat.
Oh,
right?
Okay,
if I want a shawl, I'm going to get a shawl.
That's cool.
Which I love, because she tells you, and she even says if you don't want to know anything about it, just pick your shape, read no further. But if you want to know more, this is what your shape will be like, and this is how big you can make it. So she gives you information. I just bought the mystery knit along late at night a couple nights ago. I was like, yes, I want to do it. So I happened to see it on a Ravelry group, and I know I like her patterns in the past.
That's cool.
And what's cool is that each week as it comes out, the price of the pattern goes up by just $1 or $2. So if you join and you take the risk, it's less expensive than towards the end. I think it'll just be $14 or $15 and a massive pattern. You can make hundreds of things because you can go back each time and pick a different clue.
Oh, wow.
Because it's like a choose your own adventure. That's what I didn't say. It's a mystery knit along, and it's a choose your own adventure. So you end up with what you want.
That's very cool.
I love it so much. So after I left Serendipity, if you go further down Valencia and you look for Clarion Alley, it is an alley that is all graffitied, like by awesome artists.
Oh, wow.
And it's floor to like 1 story up. Every single building, the back of houses, gates, everything, the actual ground itself is all painted, and I have all pictures from it on my Instagram feed. It's amazing and beautiful, and there's like a big peacock, there's like some political art, there's faces, there's flowers, it's just like, it's kind of amazing, and it's this long alley, which otherwise would be a very scary alley in between 2 streets. It's not like a great part of town, but it is so beautiful, and it just very inspiring and colorful.
Oh, very
and it's
cool.
fun to see street art, because here we do not have street art. We don't have a downtown really to have a street art. There's like 2 blocks in Johnson City. So, yeah, so it was beautiful. And then when you end up, if you've turned from Valencia, you will end up on Mission Street. And on Mission Street, there's 2 great Mexican places. There's
Mexican.
Taqueria Cancun, which is, there's just like big burritos. You can get anything in, and it's always packed, but it's really cute. And I went there because I already been to the place where you should go, which is Gracias Madre. It's 100% vegan Mexican food. I went there a couple nights before with my producer, and it's so amazing. But it's one of those places where you sit at, they're just big tables, so you end up sitting with other people. And that's fine when I went with somebody else, but I didn't want to on my own, just sit with strangers. Yeah. I just wanted to be totally alone while I ate my burrito. Yeah. So I went to Taqueria Cancun. And of course, they have lots of good vegetarian options. And so when you leave the Mexican place, then you'll go, I don't know what direction it is, but toward 18th Street, and you turn left on 18th Street. And you keep walking, you'll pass Tartine Bakery again. If you didn't get it the first time, you can now get it.
There you go.
And you will also pass By Right Creamery, which has great ice cream, and usually like 2 or 3 vegan flavors, but other ice cream. There's a line out the door at that place too. And it's also like, it's a whole grocery store that just has like one, like how your grocery store might have an ice cream thing, but it's amazing, and it's homemade, and people stand in line. If you keep walking, you will walk past, I can't think of the name of the park. I'm going to look at my notes to see. Well, anyhow, there's a park there you're going to walk right past that is big and beautiful, and lots of people are sitting there, so you can get your ice cream, sit down, take a break from Dolores Park, thank you. Because Mission Dolores is not far from there, which is also a really cool historic thing to see. But if you're on a mission for your own, keep walking, you'll get to Imagine It, and all of this is maybe like half a mile, so it's not
we're all there
together. But you're passing so many cool things. It seems awesome. So Imagine It is huge. It's 2 big rooms. One room is all animal fibers, one room is all not animal fibers, and they were super nice. My phone was about to die, and I had like a flight at midnight, and it was only 2 in the afternoon, and my phone was almost already dead, because I've been using Google Maps, to like navigate, and so they let me plug in my phone, which was a lifesaver. And then I stayed there like an hour looking at their yarns. So the yarns I got, Mad Tosh. I got all 3. The yarns I picked up were Mad Tosh. This one is Pashmina, which is 75% merino, 15% silk, 10% cashmere, and it's in the leaf colorway, and it's so pretty. I think I'm gonna make some arm warmers out of this.
That's so amazing.
And then in the same colorway, but looking totally different.
It does. It's amazing how different this looks. This is my favorite just because how the dye came out in this. Because hold them up together and see. I don't know if you guys can really tell the difference, but this, it just has so much more depth. And I know that it's just how the dye took on this particular yarn, but it's just gorgeous.
So this is Tosh Merino Light. It's a fingering weight, 420 yards, and it's superwash merino wool.
And it's a single. It's not plied.
No, you know what I think it is? I think it's the single versus plied, but I think it's that superwash takes dye totally differently. It's got such a nice feel. I like it.
It does. They both do.
I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Probably a shawl, but I don't know. I don't normally buy these colors, but I think because San Francisco was so gray and rainy, I was feeling green. And then when I flew back home, I looked out, like out your window right now. It's all these colors green. Like these are so Tennessee, mountainy.
Yeah.
They make me happy. And then the third yarn I got was, you know, I think it's just called Tosh Sock. I don't have the label because I wound it up. It's this beautiful gray color called Rainwater. And it's, you can't even tell, it's grays and blues, and I have started a sock for my husband in it because it's an appropriately manly, boring I'm showing you the back side so you can see maybe the little blues and light grays, but the front side is a stitch pattern. She calls it the herringbone pattern, but the pattern itself is charade, the sock. Yeah, charade socks, I guess. I'll link to everything in the show notes because I know I'm mentioning tons of places. But this pattern, I let Jay pick it out. I opened like 500 sock patterns and let him choose which one he liked, and he liked the herringbone. He thought it was appropriately manly.
Yes,
I really
it's a really nice pattern too. I really like it. You guys should check it out.
Yeah, so the pattern itself is actually cuff down. But I have had success in knitting him socks when they're toe up. Mm-hmm. So I use the, it's called like lifestyle sock pattern because they say it's not a pattern, it's a lifestyle to knit your socks toe up with Judy's Magic Cast On, which you can see there. My first iteration of this was really messy, but then I got it together and redid it.
Yeah.
And I also, I cast on the sock first with too few there, so it had a really, really pointy toe. And when I tried it on Jay's foot, he was like, that toe is messed up. So and he normally has no opinions about knitting at all. So I cast on way more and then started increasing every other row. Actually, I think the first 2 or 3 rows I increased every single row so that it wouldn't be a slow increase, but it would be like that. And so there's
like a rounded toe pattern that next sock I cast on, if I do toe up, I want to try. It looks really, really nice and pretty when in the shaping of the foot instead of this odd chunked out triangle, you know.
I know. And so I put it on his foot. It's definitely wide enough. I just cast on. I mean, I kept increasing until it was wide enough. And I think at this point it's 74 or 78 stitches. But I should make a note of this because what I always do is I make 2 socks that are 2 different sizes.
I know. I've done that before. So yeah.
I'm not a very detailed person.
You'll change something in one and then you don't write it down. And then the other one we're like, what did I do? I
know, and so then you go stare at it and they're like trying to match it up perfectly. So I need to, everything I just said, I need to write down in the notes for this pattern so that I do it. And then if after you go to Imagine It, you need a refreshment, if you walk down just not even another block, there is a, what's the name of, Phil's Coffee. And everybody told me before I went to San Francisco, you have to have coffee at Phil's Coffee. And they've got locations all over. And at one, I don't know if I told you this, I was in more the Tenderloin district, which was near the hotel I was staying at. I went to the Phil's there on the very first day I was there, and a lady walked in with an awesome felt hat, and on the felt hat was a bird.
Really?
Yeah, a parakeet. And she walked up, she ordered her coffee, she sat down, she drank her coffee like this with a parakeet. A live one, because at first I was like, that's an odd person with a stuffed bird on them. No, and then it jumped down, and it she was talking to somebody at the thing, so it jumped on them like her friend. And she just drank her coffee with her bird on her hat the whole time.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so I felt like that's like a true San Francisco experience.
Yeah, that was an experience right there.
Right.
I would have been tempted to covertly take a picture.
Oh, I did.
Did you take a picture?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's great.
And what's great is there's a window behind her, so it's just a silhouette of like hat, bird. And
That's great.
I was sitting there. I was gonna write a little bit, kind of prepare myself before my class the next day, drink my coffee. And I just stared at her the whole time. I was like, I can't believe I'm saying this. It's so great.
That's great.
It's funny. That's what I'm working on. That's my work in progress this week is the Mad Tosh sock yarn these are the Chiagu needles that I talked about last week. Their cords are awesome, but their joins, each time I move it, I feel like it gets stuck.
Yeah.
I'm sad about that. I was looking forward to it. And it's a charade pattern. But what are you working on?
I'm working on some vanilla socks. This is yarn I got from Hobby Lobby. This is Patton's Croy sock yarn. And I saw one of the knit girls knit this up, and I liked it. I like the colors. I like the pattern repeats. I liked it. So I thought I'd try it out. This is my first completed sock.
Looks great.
I did cuff down. I'll have to get some sock blockers. Just a normal decreased toe. The heel is the Fish Lips Kiss heel. This is my first time doing it. I really like it. The short rows, there is no spacing in any of those short rows, even on the ends at the last one where I usually have some kind of little hole that you have to tack up. There's nothing. And so I really like the heel. I'm not super crazy about what it did with the stripes. I mean, it's okay. But
I think it looks great.
But I have done a afterthought heel I won some sock yarn from Lollipop last year and tried an afterthought heel, and it looks so nice. I think that's what makes me be like, meh, it's just okay.
Yeah.
But I want to try some different heels. I've tried the afterthought. I'm a new sock knitter. I've only completed about 3 pair of socks. I have this yarn that just hates me.
Oh, right. The bamboo?
It's got bamboo in it, and I bought it as sock yarn. Here's the second one. I've already turned the heel, and so I'll have this one finished hopefully soon. I'm ready to be done with them. Move on. But yeah, I had started like at least two different patterns on this sock yarn, and it's too tight. It has no give to it, and I just was not experienced enough to realize that was the problem. And so I've had to rip both patterns out, and so yeah, I said I'm gonna wear the yarn out before I actually get socks made to use it. But yeah, I'm wanting to. I see everybody with all these beautiful socks and this Operation Sock Drawer on Instagram, and it's just amazing. And
if you haven't seen it, look for the hashtag Operation
Sock Drawer. Yeah,
and it's people taking pictures of their finished socks in their sock drawer. And we need a whole episode about socks because I have sock trauma. I had knit multiple pairs of socks, and I had no idea how many I made until I went back and looked at Ravelry back in 2008, 2009. Plenty of socks, bad outcomes for all of them. Like the socks were great, I wore them, and then they suffered a terrible demise. So we will discuss that in the future, though.
Yeah.
We'll have a therapy. Maybe we need sock therapy. That's what I'm hoping, knitting these socks and the socks I showed you last week, that maybe my sock life improves.
Yes, I hope so. My needles are Addy Sock Rockets. I am not happy with the joint on these either. On one of them, it's not on both of them, but on one of them you can really feel it as you're moving it through. I'm anxious to start. Last week I talked about the collage squares that I won. I'm really anxious to start a sock with those, and I was even tempted to knit those on to these socks to change out needles, but I was afraid the gauge would change on me, so I didn't. Yeah. And I could just be that picky, and notice that kind of thing and let it bug me just a little bit. So I thought, no, I'll just leave it and wait until I start any socks. But I've got sock yarn to dye, so I'll need to do me some gauge swatches this week and try out those needles. And
so speaking of dyeing, though, you have finished objects.
Some dyeing. I did a lot of dyeing recently. And here is what I came up with. I did some playing around with
that's so pretty.
Low water immersion on this one.
To get that really dark black.
Yeah, to get the really dark black, I just kind of laid my yarn out in the pot and put just enough water to cover it. And then I poured the black right on it and just let it sit and just added some more colors and just played around until I got what I wanted. And I think this is really pretty. I really like this. I like the pink and a little bit of orange. There's some purple in there. So I think this is going to be really pretty. The next one I have, I think I played, this was my first low water immersion thing. Or let's see. No, I don't remember. This one, I think this one was the twist one. I twisted it up and then put some dye in there and then twisted it again. And so this one I just played around with a little bit.
So pretty. You know I love those pinks.
Yes.
It's so pretty.
I like the pinks too. I think I ended up putting a little bit, like I glazed it first with pink and then did the twist stuff because I didn't want any white spots. If I had light spots, I wanted pink spots. So I did like a really light color of pink first. And some of it was just too pink. I think I might have put in a glaze of it on top afterwards too. So I don't know. I don't remember. Hopefully I think I've been good and wrote most of everything down that I did. This one I did, I think this was low water immersion too. This was blues and purples and teals, and I love these. I'm so into blues and teals. So
it's beautiful.
It's pretty too. And this one, oh my gosh.
This is my favorite.
This is insane. This is my insane gradient rainbow stripes of awesomeness. Because, yeah, it was insanely crazy.
So how many colors do you have in this game?
18.
18. That's insane.
It's insane. I learned a lot. This turned out really pretty. There's so no denying this is pretty, but it's not perfect, and I learned a whole lot by doing it. I had measured the same morning that I dyed, and that's not a good idea. I should have measured one day and dyed another, because by the time that I was getting ready to put those dyes on, I was just kind of rushing through it.
Yeah.
And so I had like 9 main colors and then 9 color mixes, and the color mixes, the stripes aren't as big as the main colors, and on the color mixes I wanted the color changes to show up a little better. Some of them, the color before was not as strong as the color after, and so the color after was the more dominant color, and it's wasn't as equal of a color mix in between. And so I'm going to be a little more careful next time about my color mixes, but I was really happy with it. I'm excited to do it again. I didn't have a very good setup this first time, but I've got some new tools in, and this week, so I just love it. We'll sit it back here so we can
admire it. I love a rainbow.
And so yeah, I've got some new tools in, and I've got some sock yarns I'm going to do. It's a crazy, insane sock yarn, and I may even, I hope this is okay, I mean, to get inspiration from other dyers, but I may do a twinsy skein where you cut it in half, cut your skein in half, and then dye them up the exact same, so that your sock will start the exact same way on both socks, and you not have to like measure out or work it out to.
So when you say cut them in half, what do you mean?
You cut them in half. It's meant to be sock yarn, and so you measure out the skeins, half of them. You cut them in half, and then you put them together and dye those two half skeins together, so that when you're done, you can start both socks at the same place.
Okay, I'm having a hard time visualizing it. You'll have to actually show me. When you say in half, do you mean at the midpoint of you measure out half of the yarn and then the other half, and you cut it at that point? Okay, not when you said cut it in half. I pictured this is how my brain works. Cut it in half here.
Oh no.
You mean
you measure out half the yarn,
right?
And then you just start dyeing at the same point, and you have 2 half skeins, one for each sock. Yeah.
That makes sense for people who are
the
really
mustache
specific.
Girls call it OCD skeins.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like twinsies. I don't know. I've got to name my bases. I don't have I think it's all cute that everybody has names for their bases, and I have no idea what I'm going to call my base.
Yeah.
This is worsted superwash, 100% superwash. It's so nice and soft and squishy. I really love it. And I'm going to make a monster cowl out of this. I dyed 2 skeins. And so next week I'll show you my monster
It'll be so cute.
Get some work done on that.
I love it. That's so great. So those are all your dyed yarns?
Those are all my dyed yarns.
I love that. Those are your finished objects for this week?
That's how I finished objects for this week.
So mine this week?
Yes, you go ahead. You have my other finished object. That was what I was going to say.
Oh, right. No, let's show that. Wait, this?
Yes. No,
okay. No?
The other one.
I showed this last week.
Did you show that last week?
My bag, I said my new thing that I got was my bag from Misty. So we've had technical difficulties. We've recorded both last week's episode, the first episode and the second episode, 3 times each. And every time, it just...
We're still learning.
Right. So if you haven't seen it, I'm sure they have. Okay. I don't know. This bag Misty made is gorgeous. It's yeah, because our notes aren't here. I think I talked about it last week.
Well, then good.
But, so I still love it. Actually, I just went on a mini road trip over to my mom's house, 4 hours away, and I had my knitting projects in it, and my mom freaked out over how cute it is. It's got a pocket, and it's just so much easier than having to dig through my purse, especially when I travel. I put, books and an iPad and my shawl and a pair of socks because I get cold, and to sort of have my knitting separate was just right there in the car with me. And when I went to my mom's house, I just picked it up, took it in there. And she has a dog that loves to chew everything, but especially yarn. He loves yarn and fabric that you're quilting with. He just wants to chew it up. It's so weird. My dog is not interested in yarn or fabric at all, but he is. So he would come in the room and I could just zip it, and then it was safe from him. I was really happy about that.
Oh yeah, that would be very upsetting to have a dog chew your knitting.
Yes. So my cat loves to do nothing more, Stella. She pushes the ball of yarn to the floor, and then instead of chasing around the ball of yarn like Andre used to do, Andre would circle the whole house with it. I've come back from trips and found yarn wrapped around literally everything in my house. like yards and yards and yards. Every room, everything. It's like an art installation almost.
Oh, wow,
It's so
that's
amazing.
hilarious.
But Stella instead likes to just hold it in her mouth. So she will push it off, and then the yarn is, from the table to the floor is hanging there. And she literally just, I've walked in and her mouth is just on it. Like, she's not chewing, she's just holding it in her mouth. But her saliva makes it split in two.
Oh.
So every project I have has multiple ends. Because and this project she loved because it was lace weight and it's wool, and it's kind of woolly, like almost smelling when it gets wet, and so this has all these ends in it that it doesn't need to have because she broke it off. And it's because I'm not, I just fall asleep and then I leave it there and I don't think anything about it. So this is my finished project. This is a featherweight cardigan from Knitbot is the name of the company, the designer's company, and I think her name is like Hannah Fettig or something. I never know how to say it.
Yeah.
But it's Malabrigo lace in the colorway Pearl, and it's like this soft gray
with just a hint of pink in it.
Yeah.
Really pretty.
And in different lighting it looks more or less pink, and it's like it. Here, I'll stand up. It goes to there. And it's knit from the top down, and so I started it. This is the thing that's kind of crazy. Actually, I have to look at my notes to see how long ago I started it. In 2010. And then I knit, I guess, most of it, and I put it away, but I forgot how much I had worked on until I got it back out in April of 2012. I only know I got it out then because I made a note in Ravelry. It's like, April 2012, I got out my sweater. I can't believe how much is done. The whole body was done, and one whole sleeve. It was only one sleeve left. And having to do this front, you pick up stitches to do the front and neck, I don't know what you call that, placket or something. So I couldn't believe I'd put it away with that much of it done already. Like, why did I not just finish it? Probably because it got to be summer and it was too warm here to knit with wool. And so I finished the sleeve all the way into like only an inch left, and I put it away again in 2012. So I pulled it out this spring. It was April again. I went back and I looked at my photos. April of 2014, I pulled it out and I kept it on in the bowl on my coffee table so that I would knit on it at night, so that I would like be reminded work on this. Because at that point it was too big to keep in my bag because I didn't have a project bag yet. Now I have a project bag, I could take it with me, but at the time I didn't want to put all the lace weight in my purse. Yeah. So so I finished the sleeve and picked up the stitches for the placket, which took a night or two, and I finished it. And it fits like I want it to fit, and it's actually too warm. Like, I'm getting warm wearing it now. It's too warm to wear because it's 100% wool, but I'm just happy I finished something after 4 years of I was so obsessed with it when I bought it. I cast on right away, and then for me, if I don't think I'm gonna wear it, which I really didn't know if it would fit for a long time, and then after I finished the body, I thought maybe I didn't make it get long enough, but it blocked long enough, and it was long enough. I don't know how long I thought I wanted it.
The pattern's like a little short anyway. I mean,
yeah, well, and that's the thing.
The finished objects and stuff, a lot of them are pretty short.
And I think what it is I looked at theirs and I thought, well, I actually don't like my cardigans that short. Oh no, but I've made it that short. Oh no. And what I had done though is I measured my favorite cardigan and I made it that long from the underarm to the bottom. So I knew it was going to be the right length, but I just it started to felt a little bit up here, like the part that's you very first cast on is, when I say felted, it's like a knitter would notice, a non-knitter would never notice. But that made me just depressed about what I was going to do. Yeah. I thought it's going to be felty, I'm going to hate it, and I really like it. So I can't wait for the fall and the cold weather. I'll be wearing it probably as almost like a jacket, when it's really cold. Or it doesn't get really cold here, except for maybe a month. But I will definitely be wearing it very soon. Yay. So I think that's it for us.
Yep, I think
our finished objects and what we've knit. You can find links to everything we talked about at handmadepodcast.com. And also come to our Ravelry group. We'll have the link there, and we're having conversations. Our next episode, can I say what we're gonna talk about?
Sure.
Doctor Who. Doctor Who's coming back. So tune in for that. It should be up next week. And tell us your favorite Doctor Who projects, what you're excited about, your favorite Doctor, anything. We're big geeks. And tell us in the Ravelry group. Tell us what sock needles you like. That's an ongoing question we have.
Ongoing question.
And we want to see your finished objects, what you're working on. And you can subscribe via iTunes or YouTube. We are in both places now. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye. Have a great day.
Bye.